State your name, the organization you work with, and what your role is.
My name is Temple Moore. I work with Refugee Women's Network, and I manage our community health promotion program.
And why did you want to have yoga at the Refugee Women's Network?
Well, I personally have seen the benefits of yoga in my own life and in previous projects working with people with a history of trauma, and the power of yoga to bring people peace, bring people physical and mental wellness, and as well as bringing women together in a safe space. So those were goals for bringing yoga to Refugee Women's Network.
Did the ladies want yoga there?
Yoga is new to a lot of women in our refugee and immigrant populations. Some feels a bit foreign or complex or difficult. So it wasn't asked for per se from like many clients, but a lot of women were interested in ways that they could de-stress, ways that they could exercise, and ways that they could connect with other women in a women's only space. So yoga fit those needs.
Has it been challenging to get engagement for the yoga program?
Yes, the challenges for getting engagement have been there from the beginning because, like I said, it's new to many of our communities. Of course, with COVID, we started our first, I think, 9 monthly classes were online. Which for some made it more accessible, right? They could be more anonymous, try something new without worrying about, being seen. But for many, that Zoom was not as appealing. It's difficult to try something new online. So really, we utilize our community health promoters. So we work with 10 women that are from 10 different communities and speak the language and work with them to help us recruit and bring women to the program. And as well, we have outreach staff at Refugee Women's Network that help to invite people in. And so often it's about that trust. And so since we have women that work at RWN that are trusted by community members, that was a good way of challenging or facing the challenge of people engaging with yoga or people engaging with yoga for the first time.
What changes have you noticed within the community since the program started?
Well, we have our yoga classes once a month. And so changes I've seen over the year would be, people realizing and acknowledging what yoga can do for them. So even if they were in one class, we heard so much positive feedback about, oh, I feel much more relaxed. That was really enjoyable. My body feels good. My mind feels good. And so even just bringing a tool like yoga to women for one, even if they don't come back, even just that one yoga class, it gives them a tool that they can find and use at home. And it also gives them a sense of capacity. So for our wellness groups, not only do we want to bring mental and physical wellness, but we want women to feel empowered and of themselves, that, they did something good for themselves. That's something that they can do with or without RWN. So it's an idea of giving access to these tools for mental and physical wellness that has been really wonderful to see. We've also seen increased participation. So our last yoga class a few weeks ago, we did outside and we had 8 participants, 10 of us total. And because of sort of the trusted space, the women are, trying things for the first time, laughing when they fall out of tree position, feeling okay to take risks, like positive risk taking. And that is something that we hope we'll see flow into other areas of their life.
How have the women been impacted by the yoga program, for instance, like you were talking about, like their relationships with themselves and their relationships with others?
Yes, so I would say for some of our participants that come regularly, I see um, a change in that they are more apt to come to do yoga at our office, where they might have a yoga studio that they've gone to near them, or they might do yoga at home virtually, but they want to come do it with us and with Dharma Project teachers because of that level of trust and comfort and fun, really. That it's not just about doing the yoga, it is about it being in a community space and shared with other women. So I've definitely seen that that is an attractive component of our offering.
You say that sense of community has improved greatly since the program?
I would say that yes, and there's a lot of potential for the sense of community around yoga to improve and spread. So we have actually had our community members and one of our health coordinators that works on the Buford Highway area asked for the yoga to happen for her community. It's far from. It's about almost 30 minutes from us. So we, because we saw the benefits in our community, we found a budget so that she could find a yoga teacher from her community and do a similar monthly yoga class, which is going to start this Friday. So we are seeing that even with a little bit of exposure to community-based trauma-informed yoga, women are seeing the benefits and they want to bring more community members in.
How do you think that the yoga program has been beneficial for the refugee community itself? You know, just that process.
I think that yoga has been beneficial to the refugee community in that it is another tool for taking care of oneself. It is another space that's been created where women can feel connected to themselves and to others. And so anytime we can create spaces for that is important. And I think even, the idea of yoga being sort of an Eastern philosophy that's come to the West, and now we're introducing it to international audiences at Refugee Women's Network. It's a bit of a piece of integration. The idea of doing a exercise or mindful class among others, it's a new concept for many. So social integration is something we're seeing, and just opportunities to create trust in community. So we're always looking for those, and we've been able to create a foundation for that in yoga.
What is the most significant thing that you've noticed that has come from the yoga program?
The most significant thing that I've noticed that's come from the Dharma Project yoga program for Refugee Women's Network is connection. So not only connection with other women, but connection to our teacher. Safia has become our more regular teacher, and people want to come to see her. And then, that connection to self. So realizing the positive benefits of just spending, 50 minutes doing yoga, that people are excited to do it. And also our executive director, Sushma, who has practiced yoga for a very long time, and knows the benefits, but she also wanted to make it more kind of like a required class for staff. So doing self-care, implementing it for our community members, but also for our staff. So saying like, this is a time when you can take a break for yourself and do something that's good for you, but also, what's good for you is good for your work.
I was working with just Dharma Project staff, like you said, Safia, and with the executive director, Rutu. How has that experience been for you?
It's been really great. From the beginning, Rutu had a genuine interest in our communities and the women that she knew had a real need for yoga. And like I said, we had to navigate doing things online for a while. And it was really important that we all be flexible and, adaptable and think about, okay, how can we increase engagement? How can we make it more appealing, changing time of day, changing when it's offered, space, all of that. So it's been really positive because, as a manager of the program, I really want participants to show up when we offer the classes. So when it's only 3 people, I feel a little bit like, oh no, I should have done more recruiting. But really there was like not a lot of pressure from Dharma Project. They understand that the different clientele with a history of trauma, it's hard to show up for these types of things. So there was that sense of understanding and adaptability that was really important in creating this partnership that now has been going really strong for over a year.
What would you like to see be improved or added to the program as far as efficiency and things like that?
I've loved, since it's transitioned in person, that has been really great. I would love to increase participation, increase consistency of the same people coming each week. And then ideally, we'd love to offer it, twice a month, and even take it to different settings so that more people have access. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see even it being offered to people that would need interpretation. So a lot of our participants that have come have been pretty proficient English speakers, and it would be interesting to be able to break through that barrier and show that yoga, that we can offer interpretation, or sometimes that, you don't need language. So just interested in taking it to more people and having more consistency.
So what do you love about having the yoga program at RWE?
I love having a yoga program at RWN because I love yoga myself. And so sometimes I find myself so grateful that as part of my workday, that's something that I'm doing. And I find that I'm meeting more people and connecting to women that I work with in a different way. And I think that's really, really great. And giving women a sense of confidence in themselves and seeing that change is really great. And so I love that we are open to having sort of non-traditional ways of engaging in mental and physical wellness that we can offer to our community.
Any stories or experiences that demonstrate the value of the yoga program, if you have any?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when Safia came one day and we had a previous staff member come who has recently rejoined the team, and she speaks Bengali. And then our current health coordinator came, who's also from Bangladesh and speaks Bengali. And then they connected over language. And then Safia was talking about the origins of the words in yoga and sort of how that connects with Hindi and Bengali, it was interesting to see their conversation around language as it relates to yoga, and then see how they could connect with each other because of language and because of yoga. So I think that's just an interesting thing that happens when you have different people from different backgrounds come together